just know that when they're done coming for all of the Latinos in the country, they're gonna move on to other races. So if you're sitting back like, oh, they're only coming for the Hispanics, babe, like, that's who they're starting with.
Most of y'all wouldn't even be citizens if it weren't for your parents, grandparents, or someone in your family tree coming here illegally. So remember that the next time you want to say something ignorant or stupid about illegal immigrants.
Proximity to whiteness got a lot of you minorities fucked up because you forget that proximity to whiteness is not whiteness. It may grant you access to certain systems and privileges and benefits, but never forget who granted you that benefit and that privilege. And that is a painful lesson. I think in the next coming years, we're going to see the Latinos for Trump really, they're going to learn.
So y'all want black folks to come and fight with y'all, come stand on the front line like we always have. But ain't this the same group that refuses to stop saying the N-word? This ain't the same group that was being racist in Zoe Spencer comments when she was going back and forth with that Hispanic creator. But now y'all want our help. Okay, interesting.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Right. So in today's episode, we're going to be reacting to Black Americans sending a very strong message to Latinos. And not all of them are speaking the same language, but the message is essentially the same, yeah? While there are those ones who feel like Black Americans should be sitting this one out and they've communicated as such, there are a few of them who are also communicating that they see what's happening and they're not supporting it, and they want to send a strong message about this as well, right? And they are also reminding Latinos to remember this day, this year, and what happened when they voted how they did, yeah?
Right. And also a few Latinos are coming on to talk to one of their very own, right? And they're saying that Latino community should remember that when they decided to throw other groups of people, including Black Americans, under the bus, they seemed to have forgotten that they were sitting on top, they were sitting in that very same bus. They might have had good positions like the front of the bus, but when the bus crashes, it crashes with all of them in it.
Anyway, guys, let's watch what we prepared for you and then we come back and talk about it. We'll be giving our commentaries at the end of the videos, yeah? But you can also let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section. Also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, right? Let's watch.
And then we come back.
Here's something we could do. Here's something we could do to figure out which immigrants need to go back and which ones can stay, okay? Now, just hear me out. If we do this, we can avoid everything that's happening in LA, right? We don't need to protest anymore in LA if you listen to what I'm about to say. Here's how we figure out which immigrants should go back. We gonna take their rap sheet, and right beside it, we gonna put Trump's rap sheet, right? We gonna put them by each other, side by side, if you will. And then we're gonna put our spectacles on and then take our pointer finger, index finger, if you will. And then we're gonna run down those rap sheets and see which one is longer. If, and this is a big if their rap sheet isn't as long as Donald Trump's, they get to stay. Deal? Deal? Shake on it. Shake my hand. Black hand side. Go ahead. Slide it. You know what that, you don't know what that means. All right, get back to me.
So y'all want black folks to come and fight with y'all, come stand on the front line like we always have. But ain't this the same group that refuses to stop saying the N-word? This ain't the same group that was being racist in Zoe Spencer comments when she was going back and forth with that Hispanic creator. But now y'all want our help. Okay, interesting. Those were my initial thoughts, right? It's their war, let them deal with it. But that's an emotional response. Okay, that's pure bitterness, that's wrong. There's no sense of righteousness in that mindset. And even though it's not our fight, it is our fight. Okay, because today it's Hispanics and Latinos. But the only reason why we're not grouped up with them is because technically, legally, we were born here. Okay, he arresting them. That nigga trying to annihilate our whole community. And to those of y'all that's making an argument of, well, undocumented immigration is illegal. This what happen when you break the law anywhere. Bro, this nigga put out a quota. This nigga Trump put out a quota, meaning these officers are required to meet a certain number of arrests. anytime you put a quote on something, bruh, it's bound to for you to run into some outlawed, unlawful shit. You forcing the issue. This nigga dropping 2,000 National Guardsmen to arrest these folks, tear these people away from their families. Nigga, Flint, Michigan still ain't even got clean water. Motherfucking elementary schools, middle schools, high schools getting shot up. And this is what we prioritizing. If you don't see nothing wrong with that, bro, you just as fucked up. So to my black folks, it is our fight. Okay, we can't adopt the same mindset as our oppressors. All right, they want us to divide. That way it's easier to take us out. Cause today, it's Hispanic and Latinos. But that motherfucker in the White House, he don't look at us no differently. He itching to get us up out of here. It's only a matter of time. All right, we gotta be a part of the change that we want to see.
History between black Americans and Mexicans in Los Angeles, I'll extend that to Southern California, is not a good history. Mexicans went on an erasure campaign, erasing black people out of their communities for years. And I could get deeper in detail. There's history out there. Check this video out.
In other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on, there would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East L.A., came to the state from the South, not knowing what East L.A. was. It was an all-Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were black. This would not be tolerated if this was white-on-black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir. It's the numbers. They come here in the numbers. They build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society.
All right, this message is for my brown people. And although us black folks decided to sit this one out because we did try to warn y'all at the polls, we do see that it's fucked up. California is a blue state. 66% of Latinos in California voted against Trump, but it's not enough. You got to work on your people that hate us. Then you got to rally your people because they hate you like they hate us. And don't tell me this is not about race. There's over 500,000 undocumented immigrants in America from Poland or Russia or Germany, the UK, Italy, Ireland, all over Eastern Europe. But they not joining the protest because they not being targeted. America has always been obsessed with race. You burglarize and steal someone's home, make laws that only protect you, then get upset when they want to move back in. Talking about, we need to protect our borders. Most of you never even met a Mexican American, and if you have, they probably doing a job that you would never want to do anyway. These ain't criminals. They're snatching up students and nurses and builders and farmers, electricians and plumbers. They got fucking armored vehicles pulling up on line cooks. You're separating mothers from their children and telling people who've been here for decades to just go and start a life somewhere else because you're uncomfortable. In their land. You just took their shit and was even too lazy to change the names. It's still San Francisco, San Diego, San Bernardino, Ventura, Calabasas, Rancho Cucamonga. But it's all in the name of law, right? Well, hanging people was law. Owning people was law. Segregation was law. Jim Crow, mass incarceration, redlining, stop and frisk. Law, 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 law. Just because it's written don't make it right. You know Adolf had laws too. It's funny how you want people to follow the rules when they only benefit you. So let me get this straight. A man who was found guilty of committing 34 felonies is turning our troops against people who committed a civil violation. Being undocumented is a civil violation, not a felony. So who you put in office is far worse than any of these folks out here just trying to build a life in America. But y'all let him slide because he's white. I'm here in LA and not a single person died during these protests. 5 people died when they stormed the Capitol and those thugs were pardoned. Can you imagine if black and brown people stormed the Capitol? We wouldn't make it onto the fucking lawn before we got slaughtered. You naggers are all savages. You're tearing up property. Are you telling me that an insured Apple store or Louis Vuitton store is more important than the historic Capitol building of the United States? At least when black and brown people riot, it's for survival or civil rights. White America will burn a whole city down because their team won the World Series. So to all my brown brothers and sisters, coming from a people who's been fighting on the front lines for over 400 years, sacrificing our bodies so that Muslims and Asians and Africans and Indians and brown people can live a comfortable life in America, please realize that we are tired. A bit of advice. There is not a word that you can say to make those racists feel compassion because they do not view you as their equal. So keep protesting and going as hard as you can.
Proximity to whiteness got a lot of you minorities fucked up because you forget that proximity to whiteness is not whiteness. It may grant you access to certain systems and privileges and benefits, but never forget who granted you that benefit and that privilege. And that is a painful lesson. I think in the next coming years, we're going to see the Latinos for Trump really, they're going to learn that in throwing everybody under the bus, throwing your brothers and sisters under the bus, you were also seated in that bus as well. You may have been on the front seat of the bus with all the privilege and whatever, but you were still in that bus. There are certain groups of people who may benefit from their proximity to whiteness, whether they have fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, maybe they bleach their hair. Maybe in their respective countries, they are considered white, guerrita, whatever. Y'all forget that in the United States of America, you are not considered white. Nobody is looking at you like you're white. Your last name is Hernandez, Ortiz, Garcia, Rodriguez, Colon, fill in the blank. I don't care if you have white skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. They're going to clock your last name, your accent if you have one. They're going to clock it. We're all clocking it. In the U.S., you will never be considered white. I don't care if you put on that funky ass red hat. I don't care if you scream MAGA 2024, 2028 from the top of your lungs. These people are always going to remind you that you are not white. And so when ICE pulls you over, because we know that they're racially profiling brown people, when they pull you over, how is ICE going to be able to differentiate whether or not you are a MAGA supporting Hispanic or one who illegally crossed the border? How is any of us supposed to be able to differentiate who's who?
You know why Trump is invading Los Angeles, right? Not because he wants to be a dictator. It's not because he hates Gavin Newsom. It's not even because he hates immigrants. All these things are true, of course, but they aren't the primary reason. Think through it for a second. His economic agenda is dead. His foreign policy is dead. Canada, Panama, and Greenland are still not ours. RFK has gone fully rogue, clubbing public health policies over the heads like they were baby bears with brainworms. Elon Musk thinks he's a cuck. His federal layoffs are backfiring in his face. I don't think he's seen Ivanka in 4 years. Melania definitely thinks he's a douche. Barron can't get into Harvard, which, if you recall, still has foreign students. And I tried to book a vacation suite at the Gaza Strip Trump Hotel. It turns out that wasn't real either. 5 months of failure without a single meaningful policy signed by Donald Trump. He can't even get a simple budget through the government he controls. His second term so far has been a conveyor belt for press releases from his desk to the shred bin at the Supreme Court, leaving him nothing more than the power conveyed by a handful of centuries-old emergency powers that I think honestly Congress would have gotten rid of if anyone believed a future president would be stupid enough to try to use them. But just like we saw with the Alien Enemies Act, I think it's extremely unlikely those other obscure emergency powers will hold up under scrutiny. Donald Trump didn't invade Los Angeles because it's something that needs to be done. He invaded Los Angeles for one reason only. He doesn't know what else to do.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the episodes we just played, do you know? And I feel like by this point, everybody knows the message loud and clear. Yeah, and episode we did yesterday where Asians were being called out for not supporting, for not speaking up against the current happenings on ICE and them harassing Latinos, yeah? And I feel like Asians also came out and explained themselves, but in today's episode, we are focusing on the message at hand. I feel like a lot of Latinos have communicated, and what I don't get is how some of them are still coming out to cry and ask why other people are not supporting them. You know, funny thing, there's a video I saw, I think I might look for it to include it in this video. There's a video I saw of a whole entire Latin, I don't know from which group they're coming from, Mexicans but I suspect they're Mexicans. Father, mother, and their 2 children who are proudly wearing their MAGA hats, MAGA t-shirts, you know, and taking photos and waving the American flag, you know. And upon being telling us, they were like, we are very, very proud of Trump. We want him to be president.
Family.
His family, La Familia, you know, his family. And right now I'm asking myself, is it that they were blinded? Because the president communicated his message loud and clear and his intentions, you know. And for them to consider him family, did they not know that he would do that to them? Anyway, did they not hear the intentions that President Trump had against them? Because right now, they're the very same people who are coming out to say the president lied to them. And I might ask, how did he lie to you? Or he came out saying, all I want from you is your votes, you know. After that, he was done with you, you know. And I pretty much feel like he fulfilled his promise, you know.
But, you know, at the end of the day, I do feel like a lot of groups in America have been fighting of late. It's not only Black Americans and Latinos, but I do feel like Latinos have had it worse. They've had the most fire being dumped on them. And this is not me supporting them. I'm saying the observation I've made. And I just ask myself, and I can ask you, our audience, to explain to us why this is. According to me, I do feel like Latinos have had it worse in this game of we told you so, because recently, not long ago, we also heard of the Palestinian Americans coming under fire, but then theirs faded very quickly.
As quickly as it was rising.
As quickly as it was rising. And also, Asian Americans, not until this week when it was being pointed out that they are very quiet, people seemed to have forgotten that they even exist in America. So that just brings Latino Americans in the question. Why have they trended for so long, especially since the day the vote passed that Donald Trump was president up until today? And I feel that my answer could be that Latino Americans have had it worse because, first of all, they were the most vocal, and they rubbed it in every other minority group's faces that they were going to vote for Trump and they wanted to fix America, not knowing that, or ignoring the fact that they are going to be caught in the crossfires, number one. And then number two, the reason why I feel like they have been trending on the airwaves so much is because amongst other groups of minorities, Palestinians tried it, but they soon came to retreat to their corners. Latinos from day one have been insisting on dragging Black Americans into their own fight, and they don't Latinos don't reciprocate the same way, as in coming to fight for Black Americans. But when they find themselves in trouble, they demand of Black Americans to join in on their fight and bring their bodies to physical protest and stuff like that.
Okay, I hear you, but personally, I would say I feel like Latin Americans are getting the fire like the most, because I feel like I think that the majority of a minority group in America when it comes to immigrants, and I feel like the Latin population was growing to such a huge number where I guess the government, okay, that's just my thought, the government was becoming worried, because I feel like the majority of a population, those people who are considered a majority, are the ones who rule the country. They're the ones who create laws. They're the ones who kind of influence, you know. So maybe they were scared to get to such a point where Latins were so many that you start finding them in every corner of the government, you start finding them in every industry, you know, like that. So this is kind of the way of decreasing their population in America, so that they can still continue to have a hold on the control system in America, you know. Okay, that's just my thought.
I do agree with you on that thought, but I do feel like you've explained it from a point of view of why they're being why they are under attack by the government.
Right.
But my question was, why are they under attack by other minority groups of people? That was my main question. Like, okay, people have been attacking each other online since Trump won the elections, right? It was blacks and Palestinians, and then it went to blacks and
men and white
women, and then it quickly faded away. And then what I was asking is, why is it that from the day Trump won, it has been Latinos versus black people from the get-go, and this has never died down? Latino this, Black Americans this, Latino this, Black Americans this.
I think just because what you say, they have they share a common problem, that is they face discrimination in America, but the black community more so than the Latin Americans, but still they all go through the same struggles, so therefore you'd have expected them to work with Black Americans to try and fix their situation. But I think Black America kind of felt betrayed made after the elections, because upon them realizing that Latin Americans were the reason why a majority of them
contributing factor. They were not the only main reason, but they were a
huge contributing factor. I think that is what changed the game, because
and also
like you're gonna get what you voted for. And
and also Latinos insisting time and again that they wanted black people to join in and help them with their struggle.
Latinos, I hope you guys are learning a lesson, because it's quite sad what you're going through, but you know, right now people are saying, like, you know, we could have sympathized with you. It doesn't stop us from sympathizing with you, but you got what you voted for. Thing is, I don't think all of them are going to learn a hard lesson from this. Some of them are still going to remain who they are.
I know that, but I really hope that a big number will be wiser next time in making their decisions, especially if it affects people of color and black people.
Right. Anyway, guys, I don't know what you think about this episode. Let us know in the comment section what you think about this episode. And also, I don't know if there's any Latino who has watched this far, but if there's any at all, like, I would like to get their opinion right now, like the current state of America. What are your feelings,
and what are the lessons you've learned from this, either positive or negative, and about Americans in general?
Right. And guys, before we close the show, let me just remind you something. You know, I don't know if you guys are familiar. I know you're familiar with the saying "tit for tat is." It's a fair game,
but also you're also aware of the saying that, and well,
it's not. That's not the message you're trying to say. Okay, what I'm trying to say, because that was a wrong example of an old adage. What I was trying to say is,
two wrongs don't make a right.
That is
that is it.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Why am I saying this? Because you know how Black Americans, they never forget when they need help and other groups don't show up for them. You know, I feel like the Latin community is going through so much right now. Do they deserve the help? I don't know, but one thing for sure is it has been communicated loud and clear that you know, right now they're on their own and nobody's getting involved, and I feel like that is something that is gonna stay in their memory for a long time. You know,
they will also remember.
So I don't know how this is gonna play out, but I feel like
that they'll come to an understanding of some sort.
The powers that be are happy when people don't get along. In a country, they rule more when a country is divided. But when you take that power away from them, they'll start being confused and they'll find other ways to rule, you know. But for right now, they're getting exactly what they want, for the people not to get along, because it's easier for them to be ruling you like that, you know. Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, and also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, right? As usual, Lorna, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Let's see you on our next.